Going live. Okay, so that's my hand over there, but here's my hand over here. I will figure this out. And look, I put my computer up so you can see the. Oh, see, I gotta do this. I gotta get better at this. Working backwards. Here, pointing over there, looking here. I am rewiring my brain as we speak. So, hey, those of you on the destination decluttered email list, I didn't let you know about this. This was totally spontaneous, hence uh the robe. But I just got up this morning and I had a little bit of wiggle room in my calendar, and I see a few people are tuning in, so you may just be coming across me. Oh, hey, Becky Ridgway, nice to see you. Yes, thank you for thinking it's a nice surprise. Luann, good morning. Yeah, why in the hell not? Why the hell not? I decided, I got up this morning and I looked at my schedule. And back in the TT days, as I like to call it, back in the TikTok days, I used to occasionally do a weekend pop up. Now, Linda, nice to see you as well. Happy Saturday. And um, I love flexibility in schedule and decision making, while I also have structure. Those two things to me dance nicely, like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Okay, and I say this because who doesn't like a nice surprise? I was able to surprise my niece with a little good news yesterday. Um, I was able to surprise my husband. We just checked in. I just checked us in for um, a flight. Then when I was checking in, I've never done this before. So tip for the four of us, Garrett. Okay. So there's only like four of us here. And I don't know if you guys can like put a thumbs up on the little thumbs uppy thing, however it looks on your end. But if you could do that, that would be great. If not, no big deal. But check this out. When you check in for a flight, even if you've already picked your seats, it cannot hurt and it can help. I've learned this literally just in the last couple of weeks of taking some trips. It can't hurt to check to see if there are better seats available. And here's the important asterisk difference. Previously on LA Law, right? Thank you for the thumbs up. And I see, Linda, you got one in there too. Um, so thank you. Previously, if you try to change your seat beforehand, um, before it's time to check in, they will often charge you for the nicer seats. I learned this just by accident a couple of weeks ago when we were flying, that sometimes even if the seats are marked red on the little seat map, if you click on them, sometimes the price is zero. So that I did that a couple of weeks ago when we were going somewhere. And then today I said, well, why the heck not? Let me just give it a shot. Yes, we were able to go from row 13 to row 8. Now, row 8 is right up there in the front with the leg room and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, so just something to think about. Um, Typically, I don't like that front seat. I like to have the space underneath, but we are also group 4. So, but I'm boring you with details about my travels, and it's cool. But I just thought I would offer that kind of tip to you. So hey, it's just the few of us. Perhaps other people. I probably should have put some hashtags on this to attract other like YouTubers, people who are scrolling on YouTube. But right now, it's just this handful of us, literally. And so let me ask you this: how can I help you? Each one of you guys, what would benefit you this morning, today, this weekend, um, declutter wise? Because here's the situation too. Talk about flexibility. So I popped on to spend the next hour here on YouTube, much like I used to do on TikTok. And I'm just reaching out to let you know I'm here seriously to just help you with something you're stuck with. I kind of like the smaller crowds because then we can get a little bit more in depth and you can ask your question without it getting lost in the shuffle. So I just ask you, kind of where are you stuck declutter wise today, this weekend, even up until sometime next week? Because as I mentioned with flights and stuff, we are flying tomorrow, God willing, and go birds. Um, and I will not be doing a YouTube live until I'm going to look at the schedule. You guys know where the schedule is too. I look at it too because I want to make sure that I'm saying you saw okay. So yeah, after today, this was a total pop-up. After today, my next YouTube live is on Thursday. On Thursday. No, no, no. Actually, here's a funny thing. I got to update that. I got to look at it. Yeah, no, no, it still is Thursday. Okay, good to know. Oh, the other thing too, seriously, I just thought I'd mention it, is because I was looking at the page is today and next Saturday, we have some decluttering parties. Okay. So decluttering party today, noontime Eastern. Like right now it is 9:05. So in a little less than 3 hours, we've got a destination decluttered YouTube declutter party. Folks get together on Zoom. I send you the link. You buy your ticket. I send you the link, and then it's like even better because there's there's a group of people. There's also that opportunity to ask them one-on-one questions, much like this wonderful small group we have right now. Okay, so Garrett Phillips, you're saying I have several bins full of toiletries in my bathroom cabinet that I want to clean out, hoping to find space for minimal toiletries and extra linen storage. Okay, I love that. I love that you're getting specific and you've got kind of a destination of what you want to use that um, bathroom cabinet for instead. Now, one of the things I want to mention to you is kind of in the general decluttering of, to me, this would fall under the category of stored clutter because it's in a cabinet, right? And in those cabinets, you've got bins. So there's storage and then there's storage, kind of like behind me right here. I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at it. Notice how I'm coaching myself through being able to align where my hands go, even though after 2.5 years on TikTok when it was backwards. So, a couple things, Garrett, that might help you and everybody, because these are kind of those basic tenets of decluttering that can apply regardless of what the specific thing is categories, categories, name of, right? So, you might want to take out, and again, here's another one too. Do not pull out everything out of the cabinet. Now, I know that what's her name? Marie Kondo says, pull it all out. That can be helpful sometimes. And for those of us who have a brain that's wired differently than Marie's, it can also be overwhelming and will shut you down. And then you end up sleeping on the stuff that you piled on your bed, or you crawl under the covers and you're in a little fort. Okay. Okay. So here, Barb, I can help you with this too. Okay. What I want you to do is be strategic. Be strategic about how you empty that cabinet or that entertainment center. Don't just pull it out and then try to do it. As you are emptying it out, start to identify the categories as you're doing it. It will save you a step. So think about that. If you're pulling stuff out, you might be like, here's all the stuff. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I have all the stuff. And it might feel a bit overwhelming because it's been packed up in containers or in that cabinet. But then when you pull it out, it's going to be spread out and it needs to be spread out so you can sort it. But I offer to you, okay, sort it before you store it, but sort it as you're pulling it out. So find yourself, this is why we usually go from um, surface clutter to stored, because make sure that before you even open up your cupboards or your cabinet or your um, entertainment center, that you have a place, you have a clear surface to then sort your things. Okay, cool. I'm glad I could help you, Barb, with this. So think about it. Think about the categories you may find. So in the bathroom cabinet, it might be cosmetics, and then it might be, lotions. It might be cosmetics, or it might be like my toiletries and my husband's toiletries. We have like a line of demarcation. I'm not going to use his, antifungal foot, you know, foot stuff, and he's not going to use whatever girly things I use, right? So that could be my stuff, his stuff. Those are categories. It could be cosmetics, and it could be, stuff I use every day and stuff I use for special occasions. In your you may know it. Okay, so Barbara's already got it. Papers, pictures, miscellaneous. That's wonderful. At the beginning, please do not overwhelm yourself with too many categories, but enough to get you started so that when you're taking the stuff out of your storage, you are putting it with like items together. Okay. Yay, Luann. I am glad you're back on the mailing list. Good. Have you, and you've gotten some of the emails, right? Cool. If you haven't, let me know and we'll figure it out. So, like items together. Totally reminds me, I learned that when I was in Pier 1. When I worked at Pier 1 back in the 80s. Pier 1 Imports, anybody? Walking in a wicker wonderland, we used to joke. Okay. Okay, good. Luann, you're getting the emails. Becky Ridgway just unloaded her dishwasher. So remember, all y'all, then there's only a handful of us. You can, I hope you're actively doing something while I'm talking. And what I mean by that is you could be puttering and decluttering, surface area puttering and decluttering. Totally, that's a cool thing to do while I'm talking. You could also be actively taking notes, writing down what I say. So after this live is done, you have a list of tips and a process outlined that you can follow. Maybe it's just you're exhausted and you're laying in bed because it's a Saturday and you're just actively listening. Actively listening. Okay. So categorize as you empty out. And starting even with pictures. Okay. Pictures, first of all, please note pictures are sentimental items. Where did my hand go? Pictures are sentimental. You could spend the entire day probably going through pictures and you may end up with a few inches left of space. What I recommend, again, in that surface stored sentimental. Therapy Gal Sue, good morning. Yes, this is a total surprise pop-up. I just decided to do it. Start with the surface area. Start when you are when you are decluttering a storage unit, a storage container. Please start with the easy stuff. Build your muscle, warm yourself up with the little weights. Do the things that are easy. The trash, the stuff that's a no-brainer because it's not going to engage your brain to make a decision because you're like, yeah, totally don't want that. And then use those things so that you also feel that sense of accomplishment and you're getting started. Okay. So with like papers, pictures, and miscellaneous with Barb, in your miscellaneous category, you may have stuff that can be further categorized. Like, oh, these are a bunch of cords that we used to use to plug in stuff, but now we don't even know if we have the things. Okay. So remember, surface stored sentimental. This is not, I want to be very clear, this is not to avoid the hard stuff, but this is a strategy because I want you to build your muscles and your muscle of confidence to get to when you get to this sentimental stuff that you have the muscles and the process to go through. Excuse me, I have to sneeze. That's what I get, dislodging the bugs. Yeah, further thrown away. So notice that Barb is working on an entertainment center today, and let me see if I can use my little thing here. Garrett is doing the same thing in the toiletries. So toiletries are really interesting because toiletries, it's a tree full of toilets. I remember thinking that as a kid. Is we often save things that we think we're going to use, but as we do that, those things age. So Garrett Phillips, I would not be surprised. It is distinctly possible that you bought something and you thought it was going to work for you and you probably paid money for it. And it's crazy because you can get like a little tube of something and it can cost 20, 30 plus bucks. What I want to suggest to you and to everybody is this. This is the process that you went through. You saw something on TikTok, on YouTube, in a magazine, in the store, and part of your brain said, oh, that might help my life be better. That might smooth out my skin. That might make my nails look good. That may make my lashes look extra dramatic. So you see that thing that you think is going to make your life better. And again, I'm talking specifically here about toiletries and cosmetics, but really it's everything in your house. You see something you think is going to improve the quality of your life. So then you decide, you make a decision to exchange money for that item, and then you get the money, you get the item. Well, then you now have the item in your life, and then you use it. When you use it, you discover something. It either works well for you and you keep it, yay, this works out well, or you're like, this doesn't work like I hoped it did. Now, I say this to you because this happens to me a lot with cosmetics and stuff. So I've learned to buy my cosmetics, frankly, at like Target or someplace where I can return them even though I've opened them. But you may not have done this. So you may have bought something that didn't work for you initially. And you may say, well, maybe later I'll give it a shot some other time. So you may have things that you have saved. Okay. What I just want to offer to you is today, while you're doing this and you've categorized your things, try them again. The item probably hasn't changed, and actually it probably has. It may have degraded in quality. Do you ever open up something, and I'm thinking like sunscreen or something, where you go to squirt out like the thing and it's separated, it's got like the oil and like the little chunks in it. It's kind of gross. Cosmetics do decompose. They do break down. Okay. So, sometimes when you save something, oh, I really like this, so I'm going to buy a ton of it because I really like the smell. Well, as things age, the chemicals change and it may not be the same thing. I encourage you to notice the category of items that you have where you're like, I hung on to this because even though it didn't work initially, I said I spent a lot of money on that. Okay. This, as I said, I'm talking specifically with my mind in my own kitchen, or excuse me, my own bathroom cabinet, in yours, but also that applies to anywhere. Now, maybe not so much in the office, okay? Because Therapy Gal Sue is saying, I'm working on my work from home office, shredding old files. These uncertain times is kicking my, might need this someday about office supplies. Yeah. Okay. So notice, yes, what I would say is not so much office supplies, but I would say with everybody. In this times of contention, it's not my expansion. I got to listen to the Buzzcocks. Sorry, that's just where my Gen X punk rock brain goes. What I would love for you to do, everybody, in your paperwork, in your decluttering, find your important paperwork. Know where your important paperwork is and know where it's easy to grab. I know within split seconds, I have a point A to point B. I know where my um, my passport is. I know where my driver's license is. I know where our my birth certificates are. I know our birth certificates, our marriage license, all that stuff. I have it in one envelope. I know exactly where it is. So if I ever needed to grab and go, I know where that is. Okay. Now think about it. Um, what are those called? It's so funny. They call them trombones on the little box, but paper clips and paper. You can get that anywhere, but man, would it be better served for you to know where your important documentation is? Okay. So Barb and Therapy Gal Sue and everybody right here. One of the things that decluttering helps you do, and this is why I talk about kind of surface stored sentimental, is how does it look? Yeah. Entertainment center, you want it to look better. You want your cabinet to look better when you open up. But how does it function? Now, function is pretty much this. How easily can I find what I'm looking for in a minimum amount of time? So function is easiness. Easy to say I'm thinking of an object in my house, I can easily find it. That's one of the things that you should really consider when you are decluttering. Keeping your important things within easy reach, keeping the not so important things maybe packed away. Now, I say this because of the instability of our current government, I'm not going to lie, but also even prior to that, floods and fires. The people in North Carolina, the people in California, who knows? Having access, quick access to the important things gives you peace of mind. Now here's a thing I will offer to you, and I'm going to write this down for me. I'm going to write it down, and I can't talk and write at the same time. This just occurred to me, okay? As many of you know, because it's just a handful of us here, and you're probably on the mailing list and you've subscribed to Destination Decluttered here on YouTube, so you got a notification and they're doing this live. You know that I am actively, multiple times a week, helping my aged mother with her stuff. Right now, talking to you guys, it just occurred to me that I don't know where my mother's passport is. Now, I know she has a passport because a couple of years ago, we went on a cruise. So she probably doesn't know where it is. But when I see her, when I go to her house in about a month, I now know to say, "Ooh, let me get that important stuff together for her and put it somewhere where I know where it is." Okay? So, thank you for helping me with that, you know? Um, there we go. So I offer this to you, Barb and Therapy Gal Sue. I did this pop-up today, and I'm doing the decluttering party at noontime. If you want to join in, that's great. You can still buy your ticket up to like 5 minutes before we start at noontime Eastern. But after that, I will be off the digital grid as far as my destination decluttered stuff from Sunday to about Thursday or Wednesday, late Wednesday. So, Barb and Sue, maybe say to you, "Hey, you know what? You want to promise each other that we're going to work on our offices together, and then when we do another Destination Decluttered YouTube live, you can check in with each other. Get an accountability partner. It doesn't have to be somebody you know. It doesn't have to be somebody in your house. Sometimes it's better if it's somebody you don't really know, because the people you know, unless I'm only talking about the people I know, the people you know can be judgy. They can be bossy. They can be unhelpful. Now, I have been every one of those things in a previous life, and I'm still working actively daily on not being that way. Okay. But I just want to offer to you, when I'm not around, notice what helps with these decluttering parties is a sense of I'm not doing it alone, a sense of somebody else is struggling with this thing, but we're both working on it together. The hive mind. Okay. So I just wanted to mention that. So Garrett's got your potions and lotions and hair products. Let me help you with this with everybody. Notice how I said, and we were talking specifically about products in the bathroom cabinet, but anything that you have purchased in your life has not been, and this was interesting because and you know how I like to really get curious about the specific words we use, is I was working with a one-on-one client, and she said, because we were talking literally about the same exact thing. She showed me in our video, because we work on Zoom, she opened up her bathroom cabinet and she had a lot of bins, and they had little like chalk marks things on them. But she said, well, these had the promise of making my life better. And I said, no, think about this. The person who the promise was made by the person who would benefit from you buying the product. So they may have bought it, they may have promised, but it's not a promise, it's not a guarantee. It is a hope. You buy it with the hope that it's going to make your life better. It is not a guarantee and it's not a promise. I promised this would make your life better. No. People who want to move product and make money from you will promise it will work. They don't know. They don't know the texture of your skin. They don't really care, because their commitment to you ends when you've bought their product. So think about that. It was just a hope. I hoped that this would make my hair or my eyes or my skin or what have you look or feel better. I hoped that this would make making stuff in the kitchen easier. I hoped that this cleaning product would get the soap scum off of my tub. You are a hopeful person. You hope that things that you bring into your life will make it better. Now, the good news is sometimes that works. The reality is sometimes it doesn't. So when it doesn't, then you are left with a category of items that you hoped would work but didn't. Now, that to me is where the decluttering coaching comes in. Okay. The decluttering coaching comes in because that's where, as I say, you start with the easy peasy stuff. The stuff you definitely know you want to keep is in your heart, right? No brainer. It's a green light. Here, let me see if I can do this. Okay. It's in your heart. The other one is it's like the what I call your traffic signal in your body right here. You've got your green light here. You've got your red light down near your poop chute. I'm not going to show you my gut, but in the middle is just like when you're in your car at a traffic light. You've got the middle ground. In the middle ground is, I don't know, there's some tension. Should I gun it or should I slow down? Should I try to get through the yellow light before it turns red or should I slow down and wait for it to turn red? Just know that the stuff that really is clutter in your life is the stuff that falls into that yellow category, that you are just needing to sit with yourself and discover the thoughts of, why did I keep this? And then, does it make sense to me now if my goal is to live a less cluttered life? So that's where I like to hang out. That's why I became a coach, because that is the part that we often glaze over. It's like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'll put it here later. Now, sometimes that's a strategy because sometimes at that time you don't know what to do. But when you have clarity on where you're headed, what you want that cabinet to look like, what you want that um, entertainment center to look like, when you want it to function well. Like Carol is saying, I was looking for something last night, couldn't find it because of clutter in the bathroom drawers, wasted time looking for it and never found it, you know? Um, so notice the how it looks, how it functions, and also the number one, but I save the best for last. Remember that song? Was that girl maybe? She was like Miss America or whatever. Vanessa Williams? I don't know. I probably literally heard it on the in-store radio at Pier 1. That's how I know a lot of those songs. Um, but I digress. Uh, when you are decluttering, before you even start, so Garrett, Barb, Sue, please define your definition. Your definition is this heart right here. Your definition of your destination should have three components. How do I want it to look? How do I want it to function, which is easier to be able to find the things you're looking for? And how do I want to feel when I am interacting with that area? How do I want to feel when my eyes go over there and look at that um, entertainment center? How do I want to feel when I open up my bathroom closet and I see what's in front of me? How do I want to feel? And please write those things down. Okay? Yeah. And no, and here's a fun thing, and I'm just going to do a little aside because it was really nice. Luann said, and I should yell down the hall, but I know he just woke up because so did I. Luann just said, I did subscribe to Cliff's YouTube channel. So, you guys, Cliff is my husband. He is a musician, and he is also on YouTube. His name is Cliff Hillis. Let me see if I can do this because this is kind of fun for me. This is something I could never do when I was on TikTok. So, Luann says, I did subscribe to Cliff's YouTube channel. He's great. I highly recommend it. It didn't even contribute to house clutter, right? So isn't that fun? Now here's a really interesting thing. So where did it go? I just wait. Okay, Garrett. I'm glad that helps. And please know, Garrett has this thought, I'm cringing. Notice how your body is reacting. Your body is reacting and you're using that body reaction word. I'm cringing. Ooh, ooh. At all the waste that will come out of the process. I'm going to break it to you gently. The waste is already there. And it's not a waste. If you think of it as a waste, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to have a harder time parting with it. If you think of it as a learning experience, I learned to maybe buy a smaller container of that lotion until I decide if I really like it. I learned something about myself, that I really don't like the smell of lilacs. I learned that I want to next time buy my products at a place that allows me to return them even if they're open. If you use the word waste, you're going to maybe identify yourself with, I don't want to be a wasteful person. There is waste inherent in the human condition. I woke up this morning. I did not get myself a beer. I peed out whatever I drank yesterday before I go to bed, and I'm proud to say it was water, okay? Because I need to get better at drinking my water. Speaking of, look at me. Waste is getting rid of what is not beneficial to you, okay? So rethink, look at what you're calling being a wasteful person as a cleaning out of your system, getting the stuff that's getting in the way of things being in flow. Now, this is funny because I'm talking about peeps and poops, and I'm also talking about you easily finding something. Carol Boyette never found what she was looking for because she still hasn't found what she's looking for because there was a lot of stuff that was in the way that wasn't what she wanted. Okay. So rethink your current and past definition of wasteful. Now, this may be long seated. This may be something that you learned from the people that raised you, right? Um, I grew up with people, and I still do. I will be the person. I will confess that, like, when my pump lotion is getting down to the it's no longer pumping. It's just going poot poot poot. I will like take a sharp object and I will cut it out and I will scoop the stuff out. But that stuff I do use. And so I want to be thrifty about that. It makes me feel proud. Look, you're not getting me. I'm not just going to be one of those people who throws it out just when the pump goes. I'm smart. I know I can cut this out and get so much more lotion out of there. However, I have learned to get so much better at recognizing when things don't work for me. And the sooner I let them go, the sooner they're just out of my life. Now, this is a recent 10, 15-year journey that I've been on. I don't want it to take as long for you as it did for me. That's why I come and I do this pop-up, YouTube live on a random Saturday morning. This is why I do my coaching and the mailing list and all that stuff is to remind you that there's a different way for you to think and feel about your clutter. Because when you think of it differently and you feel it differently, got to get my hands right here, you will do something different. The waste came, and the waste, not at all. It was a learning experience. If you think of the things that didn't work out as learning experiences, so you never do that again. First marriages, everybody, right? Did you learn something from your first marriage? I did, thank God. And now I have a delightful, blissful, awesome marriage that if I did not learn my lesson with the first one, I might have repeated the same thing. Okay. So do not cringe at the waste. Learn from what didn't work out and do something different and better next time. Okay? Hope that helps. Now, Peggy Calendar says, which I love, I've uncluttered my room. Now it's a great place to be. Now I want to retreat there when I feel overwhelmed with the rest of the house. I see nothing wrong with that. Did you ever make forts when you were a kid? You know? Okay. So, Garrett, well, let me just say this. Retreating, let me finish because now we have only a handful of people here. So now this is the cool thing, you guys. You guys are the cool kids. You're the early adopters. You're showing up. You're knowing when I'm here so we can get a little bit more in depth. And I'm not trying to talk to 150 people all at once. So Peggy, feeling how good it feels to feel good in a decluttered space. Do you notice how decluttered this is? Well, you don't know the before pictures, but I have before pictures of this room that I loved it when I had so many things around me because it was who I was at the time, but it did get a bit overwhelming. Now I love here. But what I want to offer to you, Peggy, is when you retreat to remind yourself that if you uncluttered your room, you can unclutter other rooms, that you can expand that feeling of unclutteredness to other areas in the house. And you can do it maybe the same way that you did this one room, expanding your comfort zone. Now, I have a whole thing where I talk about like, the people say, get out of your comfort zone. I don't want to get out of it. It is comfortable in my comfort zone. However, I want you to think of your comfort zone as flexible, as expanding, as one of those clear plastic domes over outdoor dining that we did in COVID, right? And it is malleable. It's like made of pushable saran wrap. You're kind of like the boy in the plastic bubble, but you can expand your nervous system. You can expand the area of your house slowly and organically in a way that feels good. You stretch it. You try to do it too hard, it hurts. So stretch it in a way. But so, Peggy, I just offer to you, as you are retreating from the chaos, use that retreat to fill you up and remind you you can do something more important with outside what's outside those walls. And I say that from a decluttering space from one room of your house to the next. But I also say that in a human on the planet in America right now, that if you retreat and you just hang on, your world's going to get smaller. But if you retreat and you store up the energy and say, I can do something. If I did something in this room, I can do the same thing elsewhere. You can expand and then you will get out in the world and you will do something that will affect a positive change. Okay. I get an itchy nose. Um, Now, Garrett, let's switch back. We're going to switch stations here. I love this. Garrett is saying about waste and toiletries. Waste for me also refers to landfills. Last time I did this, I emptied all the containers, cleaned them out, and put them in my recycling bin. It took forever. Okay, I actually hear two wastes in that thing. Okay, I hear two wastes. That fear of adding to a landfill and the waste of time. And I hate that I say this myself. If you do not clutter that stuff, if you do not declutter that stuff and you keep it in your house, when you die, somebody else is going to have no problem putting it in the trash in a hot minute. I am not touching, I'm going to put on freaking hazmat gloves and go through my mother's toiletries because I have no connection to how much she paid for it. I think it's nasty, gross stuff that's been opened or it's been there since 1972 because she really liked that soap. So she bought 24 bars of it and she's still using it. It will at some point end up somewhere in the ground. It will. What I offer to you, though, is just the thought, is you're just postponing that inevitability. Now, I'm still saying, if it makes you feel better to empty them out and wash them out and do it in the containers, it took forever, but you felt better about doing it, right? It felt better to say, I hope this can be recycled. I know there's an official word for that. It does you no good as a human on the planet to keep that stuff in your house. As soon as you're not there anymore, boom, it's going right into the trash. So you are saving that stuff right now from going into the trash. It is not a waste of your time to find a way that feels better for you to then release the items from your life now so you can enjoy a life that looks good when you open up that cabinet, that it functions well when you're looking for your stuff, and that you feel good about the quality and quantity of the items that you have remaining in your house. Okay. So just notice that waste is. Here's the other thing, too. Can I please just share with you? This is my thing. I recycle, I do. But at a certain point, when I'm like, mea culpa, I'm not going to just try to get all the little dribs and drabs out of here. As I've spoken right now, there have been planes flying over my head. There have been factories all over the world, all over the world. There have been things that have happened in the last 40 minutes since I've been talking that have polluted and ruined this planet more than my little tube of toothpaste that I did not recycle will. So I offer this not as a discouragement and say, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to pitch everything in the trash. No. What I'm saying is cut yourself some slack. You will not be a perfect recycler. Now, I truly believe in the incremental power of people, but I also believe in that if you're trying to be a perfect recycler, you're just going to build up the stuff in your house and your quality of life is going to suffer. So just think about that. The perspective of this one little tube of toothpaste in the trash is not going to ruin the world. A plane has flown over my head since I said that, that has done more disruption. Now we can do things about either of them, but put it into perspective, okay? And Garrett's saying reality check, thank you. Yes. Notice what I'm doing. I am looking at your situation from a different perspective. Now I feel like I'm voguing, right? You're looking at it from your perspective with your thoughts and your feelings. I show up in your life because this is all I talk about all day working is a different perspective. And my perspective is with the destination of getting you removing what just isn't working for you in your life. And I say in your life because your home is part of your life. But if decluttering your life seems overwhelming, we chunk it down to the home. Now, I love this. Notice I said chunking down. Tammy H730 says, I have started with a small area. Good. Everybody start with a small area. Tammy says, cleaned the cabinet under the sink. One area at a time is less stressful. Yes. You know, do it in a way that does not cause you stress. But also, please, when the stress begins to manifest itself in your body, get curious about it. What is the thought in my head? Seriously? When you are feeling stressed out, where do you notice it in your body? And then back up to the word generator up here and say, what words in my head are causing my body to feel stress? I can pretty much guarantee that 99, I'll give you 95 or 99 and 44 100% pure. Wasn't that Ivory Soap? 95% or more of the stress in your life is caused by words in your head. I feel like I have I've just declared something. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. To me, it is. I know when I start stressing out, it's because something I've thought. And a thought is just words in your head, words. And you can change words. You can stop the ones that's causing you stress, quiet them down, and you can rewrite a more helpful thought. And I say helpful because it helps you live a life that feels better. Okay. I show up for the last almost 45 minutes. I have been talking in words of possibility, in words of encouragement, in words of change, in words of not stress, but chunking it down, calming down, finding solutions to where you're stuck. Notice how it may feel to just marinate in words like that. Now, I do this for like an hour pretty much every day ish esque when I'm doing a live, and I do this every week with my one on one clients. But I can't do this all the time for you. But what I do is I give you an oasis. I don't know why that came up for me, but it's an oasis. Midnight at the oasis, send your camel to bed. And it's so funny because I just had a picture in my head of my dear friend Lindsay, who passed away a week ago next week. And I can hear her singing that and being all goofy. So thank you for allowing me to talk and just kind of boom, boom, boom. That's how my brain works. Um, Notice how it feels to be an oasis of calm and possibility and encouragement. And I'm not selling you anything. You guys know I do one on one coaching and I don't even have my shop open. I do this because I know how much it feels good. It feels to me to feel like I helped somebody. And boy, oh boy, RD, did I wish I had that kind of voice in my head 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60 years ago. Well, not 60 because I'm not 60 yet, but close enough. I also do this to remind you that my words in your head, you can practice them. You can talk to yourself like I am talking to you right now. Okay. And totally, who's your mama? Completely. I know exactly what you're talking about. Time and water are also resources that you can waste. I will not clean out an empty peanut butter jar. It takes forever. Now, will I scrape out every last bit? Do I have a little plastic thing that my mother got me? I swear it was one of those like see it on TV thing that helps scoop it out. Totally, because I will eat the peanut butter. But notice how much time and water it takes that you could be wasting one resource to sign. It's not an easy time to be a human on the planet. So many things contradict each other, but do the best you can. Cut yourself some slack where you are a fallible human being, okay? And use all I'm saying to get yourself reminding yourself of the power you have and the action you can take and the movements of your body and your brain and your nervous system you can use today. Today's neighborhood drugstore, CVS. Today, how can you use what you've learned in the last 45 minutes to apply these things? It's like being in a class, maybe, and then going out and testing the theory. Where I'm wrong, prove me wrong. I dare you. Okay. I want to learn. I do want to learn. If I'm saying something wrong, holy mother of God, I want to correct that. But I've been talking out loud about clutter for hundreds of hours at this point, maybe not thousands. I would have to do the math. But every time I open my mouth, I check to make sure I truly believe what I say. And earlier, like you guys are going to see because you're on YouTube now, there are YouTube videos here or even TikTok recordings from years back. There are things I may have said with the hope of helping people earlier in my career that I may have kind of phased out because I found better ways to say it. So I offer that to you also as a an opportunity. What have you been saying to yourself in your head on autopilot? Have you checked in lately to see if it still resonates, that it still is true? I had a conversation, well, it was more like listening with my 84-year-old mother who's going to be 85. No, she's going to be 84 this year. Did the math. Okay. She is still telling a story of what happened to her when she was 3 years old. 81, 82, 80 years ago. She is still holding on to and feeling the feeling of a story that happened in 1940 something. Now, she's not alone. She's not alone. Our nervous system doesn't know what decade it is. Our nervous system doesn't know how old we are. You know why? Because we are forever young. We are often the same age inside. I could immediately, did you see? And thank you, Barbara and Therapy Gal Sue, so for the sorry about my friend. Yeah, you know what I did is right then I time traveled back to this weekend last year and realized that she was still alive. We're gonna have work. I'm going to a party tonight at a friend's house, and our friends who are having the party are like, "Wow, this is the first time we've had this party where she's not going to be there." When I say those things and I go back to when she was there, and I'm now in the present when she's not, that causes my body to feel a feeling. I just time traveled. But I can also time travel back to any place in my life and my body can feel it. It can feel the joy of like riding on a pony at like a carnival where I loved horses when I was a little kid. I can travel back in time and feel the betrayal of when my now ex-husband cheated on me. I can travel back in time and remember when my now husband and I got engaged. So you do the same thing for yourself. You tell yourself stories. And what I just encourage you to do is notice how your clutter may trigger a story in you about who you are, who you were. You know, you're too slow. You don't have time to do that. My God, why do you take so long? You have to look through everything. What's wrong with you? Why did you waste so much money? We don't have that kind of money. What are you, rich or something? You know, notice the voices in your head. Now, to me, the voices in your head, as you may know, see, oh, damn it, so close. I'm getting better at this. I am training my body. See this car up here? This is your life. This is my life. We are a car in so many ways. We are also the driver of the car. You are always in the driver's seat, but you're not alone. No, you're not alone. What's his name? Hold on. Ben Folds. You're not alone. You have two places in the way I like to describe it, which makes sense to me, which helps me process life. I have voices in my head and they come from one of two places in the car. They don't come from the driver's side. The driver is influenced by two voices: backseat driver, unhelpful, fearful, saying no, discouraging, and in the front seat, right next to me, co pilot. God is my co pilot. Has anybody seen those goofy license plates that they used to have at like, roadside stands? Now you can call it God. You can call it your co pilot. You could call it the universe. You could call it your soul. You could call it Fred or Wilma, whatever you want to call that feeling and that voice in your head that whispers encouragement. And it has to whisper sometimes because the little kid back there is bop, 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 bop. But when you learn, you can quiet down that backseat driver voice and turn up the volume like a car radio on your co-pilot voice. That changed my life. Now, I read it in a book somewhere. I listened to it on a podcast. I heard it on somebody. I did not make this shit up myself. I learned it from somebody else, and it has helped my life so much. This is why I show up to share it with you. That you have words in your head about clutter that make you feel a certain way about your clutter, that make you do a certain thing with your clutter. Pretty simple. There we go. Garrett, yay. Yay. Thank you for letting me know this. So, you guys, I've got about 7 minutes and then I do need to sign off. I'm going to walk over to yoga and I've got the party. I will just send out a last kind of FYI. Noontime, we're doing a decluttering party together, noontime Eastern, because it's 9:52, 9:53 where I am. Noontime today. If you want to sign up, we're going to be here. I will not be in my robe. I will probably be in a big surprise, a hoodie. But Garrett says, this live completely changed my mindset, and I feel much better about getting rid of the excess. I will celebrate instead of feeling guilty. Who the hell would not want to feel the feeling of celebration versus feeling guilty? If you can only choose one, it's like a menu, pick one. I am choosing celebration. Celebrate good time. Come on. Now, Garrett, here's a fun thing. If some of your stuff is makeup, maybe you play dress up. Maybe you play makeup and make the most awful face you can. Here's my orangey lipstick. Here's my green eyeshadow. Here's the stuff that crumbled on my face. Maybe you have some fun with it before it's gone. If it's stuff that is unexpired and unopened, maybe you try to return it to the place you did. Maybe you donate it somewhere, so it doesn't feel like getting rid of excess. It feels like releasing yourself from stuff that was weighing you down. Okay. So I am so glad. Check out. I feel good that I decided to pop up this morning doing a YouTube live because now Garrett is feeling much better about what they were about to go into doing. And really, all it is, you guys, in the most simple way, because I don't want to gatekeep and I don't want to make anything more obscure than it needs to be. I want to be so clear. It's like spraying the Windex on and clearing up a lot of this stuff that people use jargon and things, okay? Words in your head really, really affect what you do in the outside world. And you have the power to change those words. But in order to change those words, you need to figure out what they are. So you're changing something into something. But if you don't slow down and pay attention to those words and ideally write them down, because it is a bit of a English lesson problem, kind of flipping it on its backside and saying, what's the opposite? And there's a process about this. But even realizing today, as you go through today, every single one of us, you're going to catch yourself automatically thinking something. Is it are you a good witch or a bad witch, right? Yeah. Now, Carol Boyette, so you're welcome, Luann and Carol Boyette. This is a funny thing. If I was doing shots, maybe I'll do a shot of tea. This week, I've become increasingly aware of, because I have a pattern matching brain, of how often we, without thinking, habitually use the word tackle. You always encourage me, yay, to tackle my cluttered spaces. And I said this yesterday, and so I'll say it again today. Okay. Don't think of it as tackling unless you want to be, I believe it's called a linebacker or somebody in football. Now, football is a game. You're supposed to play, but boy, it doesn't look fun. So, Carol, yay, Barb, I am thankful you found me too. You wouldn't have found me unless I showed up. So, I am grateful to myself for showing up, even when I wasn't planning on it, but I decided to, because why the hell not? Life is short. But tackling your clutter is a catchphrase. I want to say, how about playing with your clutter? Now, notice tackling is part of football. Football is a game, and you allegedly play football, right? You don't work football. Kind of like I joke with my husband. Oh, I said, that's why they call it playing music, right? So, Carol, when you look at your cluttered spaces today, ask yourself, instead of tackling, how can I play in this area? Sounds like fun. Yeah. Let's have some fun, people, and get it done. Not just fun and no like getting it done. And there's plenty, there's room for that in life. But why does it have to be a tackle? Why does it have to be adversarial? Why does it have to be me against the clutter? The clutter is yours. Your decisions brought it into your life. Right? So every time, I will say this is one of those jags I've been on, because it really is fascinating to realize I am looking this as a us against them, my team against your team. I'm going to go tackle it. The clutter is part of you. Your thoughts and feelings are caught up in your clutter. So the call is coming from inside the house. If you play, play is collaborating. Play is having fun and lightness and curiosity and imagination. And we were saying yesterday about clothing in the in your closet. Somebody was going to tackle their closet. So why not play dress up like a little kid? Look at all the costumes. Look at all the costumes you have in your closet. That's me. That's weekend me. That's tiki bar me. That's corporate me. That's I thought I was going to be skinnier me. That's, thrift store me. Whatever. Yeah. Now I have to sign off in about 2 minutes, so I got to keep an eye on it, because if not, I would just be here all day and this would be good. But the true measure of my success today will be how much you take to heart what I say. And please write down these things. LO is saying it's so helpful to write down the words that pop up in my head. It really helps to move forward and get clarity on the physical and mental clutter. Yeah. Tammy H is saying the game I'm going to play today is to donate books I'm not going to read. I'm probably going to do the same thing myself. I bought a book recently, and every time I open it, I'm kind of like, I'm going to give it a shot tomorrow on my plane ride, because I've got about 6 hours on the plane. And if I don't like it by the end of that thing, I'm going to totally find a free little library, and do it away, give it away, give it away, give it away now. Okay. But as I was saying, and I want to close with this, is first of all, thank you for showing up. Second of all, I seriously will not be doing a TikTok or TikTok. I was so close. I almost got through calling it a YouTube live, but I'm getting better. Getting better all the time. Better, better, better. You're getting better all the time too. Okay. I will not be doing a TikTok live until Thursday, February 13th. The time is on the calendar, so you can show up then. But as I was saying, the true measure of my success right here is not money made, it's lives changed. So I hope that my words this morning to you encouraged you to approach your clutter differently today and the days moving forward. Not as an adversarial tackle, but as a collaborative play and fun, to forgive yourself from feeling like you're wasteful and encourage yourself to just, like your body does, let go of what you don't need and learn from what you purchased in the past or brought into your home in the past, so that the next time you're in an opportunity that is saying you could bring this into your home or your life, you just pause and say, is that going to help me have the decluttered home and life that I want? Or is it going to make it more difficult? All right. So I feel like that's a really good time for me to sign off. Um, I don't know how we can get more the word out right now, but I'm going to trust the organic process and I'm not going to worry about it. But if you know people who are cluttered, um, let them know I'm here now on YouTube as opposed to TikTok. All right. And really just make a change for yourself. Okay. I plan on having a good trip. And I will see you upon my return. But you got this and you can do something different anytime you choose. All right. I'm going to sign off right now and I will see you later. Bye.